Okay, so today, guys, we are being graced with another beautiful Black woman in business. I'm going to let her introduce herself and her business. Go right ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on, Lynette. So my name is Regina Renaye, and I am the founder of Mindful and Melanated, the online community for everything mental health and wellness for Black women. I am based out of Massachusetts, but the community is online. So we have Black women from all over the country that join us, and we just support each other in our mental wellness journeys.
Wonderful, beautiful. And how long have you been in business?
So about 5 years, and I had no intention on, creating this space, this business, right? So a few years ago, this is pre-COVID, I was looking for a peer support group specifically for Black women. So I have a mental health diagnosis of major depressive disorder. So I
Hmm.
have a therapist. At the time, I had a psychiatrist because I was on psychiatric medication and I've been an inpatient before. So, and when you're in the hospital setting, they have groups for you, right? And so I've
Uh-huh.
always loved that group dynamic. And so when I was discharged from the hospital, I was looking for, peer support groups specifically for Black women, and I couldn't find one. So then
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna create one create one myself.
I love
And
that.
and that's just how it started. It just kind of just snowballed from there. It just literally was a Facebook group that I started, and now it's a
Oh,
full-blown organization. Yeah.
oh, wonderful. I love that. That's how most great things get started, right? You have a need yourself and you just stop to think, but somebody else needs this too, right? And you reach out and you get it started because you're not alone. So in starting
Exactly.
your business, what would you say was um, maybe the most difficult thing to get it started off the ground? You said you started as a Facebook group. So what were some of the challenges to get that really started?
Yeah, so the Facebook group wasn't hard to start because it's just you just create a group on Facebook. But once I decided to turn this into an actual business to like monetize what I
Uh-huh.
was doing, that was the difficult part.
Mm.
Because just like a lot of businesses out there, a lot of Black women-owned businesses out there, um, lack of access to like funding and capital was a major barrier for me. And prior to me starting this, I actually had another business. I had a virtual assistant business, and I
Okay.
was quite successful with that business. But to me, it was a little different trying to quote unquote sell what I was
Uh-huh.
doing, which was mental health support, versus me selling my executive assistant services. Because when you're selling, your virtual assistant services, that's more tangible,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
Mental health support is a little more abstract, especially um, dealing with folks in the Black community and where
Right.
mental health is really not a thing. Like I said, I started this pre-COVID. So this was before mental health was really trending, in the media and on social media and stuff like that. So that was really the two hardest things, access to funding and really getting folks to buy what I was selling.
Got you. Got you. So how did you solve the issue of access to funding? Because that's a challenge for most of us. Because as we navigate especially as a solopreneur, we find it difficult to have that access that other businesses, receive more freely, right? We have to
Yeah.
prove so much more. We have to already be profitable, especially as a startup. I could never understand how I'm just getting started and you want me to have so much revenue, And we know that there's a 5 year lifespan that they use to measure businesses that says most small businesses are not profitable until after that 5 year mark. And most don't last for that 5 year period because of that, because it's hard to grow your profitability when you are building initially. So it always seems strange to me when I'm putting my fillers out for funding and they require so much of a revenue to already be coming in, or a profit to already be coming in. So how was that? How did you navigate those challenges?
Yeah, it's a big catch 22 in that. And so for me, what helped me was like at the time I had a day job.
Uh-huh.
So, I stopped with the DoorDash for a little bit, I stopped with the Coach bags for a little bit. And and I had to like fund my business with my day job.
Mm,
And so um I would always tell myself that my job is not my job, it's my angel investor. And so
mm,
like I would have to have that mindset for
gotcha.
one to keep me at the job because at the time I didn't want to stay there. So I had to psych myself into staying there. And that was one thing, but the other thing that I was able to do because um, I am a mission-based company. I'm not a nonprofit. Just want to put that out there. A lot of people always assume that
Uh-huh.
I'm a nonprofit or say, why don't you be a nonprofit? Because I don't want to. I want to be a for-profit business. Like
Yes.
that's the short answer, right? And so, but because I am mission-based and I'm able to um show that there is a need for what I'm doing, right?
Uh,
And so there are lack of mental health resources across the board, right?
yes.
But then when you start honing down into specific populations
Mm,
and communities, you really see that Black women are really suffering with the lack of culture-centered mental wellness. There aren't a lot of therapists who look like us. And even still, a lot of them don't take insurance because of the rigmarole they have to go through with
mhm.
insurance. That's a whole nother topic.
Right.
So because of that, I would say that to different organizations. And so, when I would hold events, because I do an annual event. I'm actually the fifth annual event of my Strong Black Women Redefine conference is actually happening this Saturday in three
Oh,
days as
wow.
we're recording this. Yeah. And so I would basically, make the case for it, and I would get corporate sponsorships.
Okay.
And that's what really helped me help. That's what really helps me fund, the business, specifically my annual event, because yeah, I have a paycheck, but that's just like the day to day, operation stuff. But when I want to host a big conference where 100 plus
Right.
people are going to be in attendance, my little paycheck is not paying for that.
Right, right. So a couple of things you said that I really want to key in on. You said you had to kind of redefine your expenses. You know, the money
Mm,
you would usually spend, you start to redefine, okay, and set priorities and say, okay, I'm not going to do this as much. I'm not going to do that as much. And I love that you titled your job your angel investor, because most of us are, we start as with a side hustle. So we're working at that regular job and we're trying our best to get out of it, right? We're tired of it. We really want to, make that jump. But we know we need those funds to keep the bills paid, to keep us going so we can, get things done after work. So I love that term that you utilize. That's a great way to think about it. And as we know, most anything we tackle is mindset is a big part of it. So you
mm.
tapped into, organizing your mindset around this job is my angel investor. Now, when you ventured into, well, tell us a little bit about, you said your company is mission based. Explain that to us. What do you mean by mission based?
Yeah, so how I was talking about how I had the virtual assistant business and it was easy for me to sell that because it's more tangible.
Yeah.
Like you can see an immediate result of what you're getting when you purchase, my services at the time. But this is a little different because no, like the hard and fast of you spending your money with me, no, you're not going to start making money immediately or anything like that. It's really about helping Black women with their mental health and wellness, right? And so that's to me, that
Okay.
is key in, for everything. But the
Okay.
reason why I say it's mission based is because there aren't really at the time, there weren't really a lot of businesses that were really doing that.
Right.
Like, yes, I want to make a profit and I know my worth and I do feel like I deserve to be compensated for the work that I do. But it's really out of this mission to make sure that
Mhm.
Black women are really putting their mental health and wellness first. That's why I
Mhm.
call my conference the Strong Black Woman Redefined, because we need to
Um,
redefine what it means to be strong. Like, we have been burdened with that
mm,
cultural construct for so long. We have to be everything to everybody. You got to put your husband first. You have to put your kids first. You have to put your church first. And at the end of the day, you're putting all these people, things, and entities first, and then you're spent.
yes,
And it's like,
yes.
when do you have time for you? And I'm not saying all these things and these people and these entities are important, because they are. But if you don't pour into yourself and take care of yourself, you're not going to be around to help your husband and your kids and the church and the job and all that stuff. So that
That
is my
part.
mission, to make sure they're right. So that is my mission, to make sure we really, really take care of ourselves, because if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anybody else.
No, we can't. I mean, it's just mathematics, really, right? If I'm
Literally.
spent and I'm tired and I have no energy, what do I have to give to you? But I got there by giving all my energy to you, versus if I pour into myself first and then I assist you, then I pour into myself again first, and then I assist you, then we both will get a lot further, right?
Exactly.
So I'm very interested in, you said you secured corporate sponsorship. What was that process like?
Woo. So I'm gonna keep it 100% real with you, Lynette.
Come on, Renee. Regina.
When I was like, oh, I'm gonna get corporate sponsors, I go to events, I go to conferences, I see the Microsofts and the Bank of America's cutting checks for these amazing events. So I'm thinking, all I have to do is call the development office, tell them what I'm doing, and they're gonna cut me a check.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no.
That's not how it worked.
Ma'am, who are you? What are you doing? Black women, what? It is so, getting corporate sponsorships, sometimes they are easy. Sometimes it's just like you fill out a quick form and then you get it. But 9 times out of 10 is if it's because you're a nonprofit. And like I said before, I don't want to be a nonprofit. So
Right.
it's a little more difficult because I am for profit. So it's really about cultivating relationships
Mm.
and really selling your story and really showing the impact, because at the end of the day, excuse me, numbers don't lie. And so when I would have these conversations with folks, I would make sure that I have some sort of I guess you can call it a pitch deck,
Uh-huh.
where I would sell my mission, tell them why I'm doing this, but I would show numbers. I would say, you need to sponsor this, because companies every year are losing trillion, upwards of $1 trillion every
Yes.
year, because of absenteeism. And the main reason why people are calling out is because mental health reasons. So
Right.
I would say, I would have data and stuff like that,
Okay.
um, to help make my case. So that's one piece of it. And like I said, the building relationships. I have been, I guess you could say, in partnership or communication with some organizations for the whole 5 years I've been doing this. And this is like the first year they've ever cut me a check.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's the
Hmm.
long game.
It's the long
The long
game.
game.
Absolutely.
Great
Hmm.
information, great information. And on top of that, you did your homework because you did your research to get your statistics to be able to show, because I researched the same topic, and I got the same number. You just mentioned that $1 trillion of people for absenteeism because they're dealing with mental health issues. So you did your research, you had your numbers, you put together a presentation or a deck, and then you went about building relationships. So over a period of time,
Yeah.
it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen the first time you showed it to them. It happened after they got to know you, And from you being
Mhm.
consistent, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I if I can give a piece of advice, I would always tell people, like, when you're doing your pitch decks and when you're having these conversations, use their words. And what I mean by use their words is, like, literally throw their own words in their face. Go on their website and
Mm,
see what their DEI statement is. Go on
mm,
their website and see what they're doing for mental health for their employees in the community, and literally copy paste it and put it in your pitch deck and say,
mm.
here's how you can XYZ that came from your website.
Right,
Because
right.
if you don't do it,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not putting your money where your mouth is, and you're just
Right,
talking.
right,
I mean, you ain't got to say it like that, but
right, right, right. A little more finesse to it, but basically that's the message. You said you care about this, so this is a way for you
Mhm.
to show that care or materialize
Exactly.
that care by investing in me and what I'm doing. Wonderful.
Exactly.
Great
And it has
information.
worked. It's definitely have worked, Lynette, because there's some organizations who they may not either want to sponsor, or it's just not in their budget, and they will buy conference tickets for their Black women employees because they're like,
Oh,
you know what, you're right. You're absolutely right, Regina. Like, we don't have like a formal program that's, exclusive for Black women in their mental well-being. So why recreate the wheel? You're already doing it. So let's just buy them some
right.
tickets, and then they can
Okay.
go and learn something, have a good time,
Okay.
and come back refreshed. So yeah,
Right.
it works.
So was that your primary ask for their support in buying tickets to your events?
That was oh, you don't want to cut me a $10,000 sponsorship check? Then you could do this.
Okay, got you.
Listen, I have
Either
plan
or, you had
B,
a backup
plan
plan.
C, always,
Beautiful.
always.
I love that. I love that. So what was your process of getting in the room, of getting their attention? Did you go on the website and see who should I be talking to and call or email, or what was that process?
That's a good question. That's literally what I did. Yeah.
Ah,
So I would, it's literally what I did. It's so funny because in my state, the Department of Mental Health, I remember I had cold emailed the chief of staff, and she was
uh-huh.
like, "What made you just email me?" Like, that was just so out the blue. I was like, "Because you're the one I want to talk to."
Mm,
And I don't know if it was a combination of what she saw I was doing, because I'm sure she researched me. She's a smart woman.
right,
So I'm sure she, researched me or whatever. But I think it was just the fact that I had the gall to do that.
right,
The mocks of the audacity. Like, you didn't even go
right.
through, like, quote unquote proper chain of commands.
Hmm.
You know
Right.
what
You
I
came
mean?
straight to
And
me. And that's how creative we have to be, because going through the regular commands, we probably would never get to her. So
it takes too much time. And you're
yeah,
absolutely right. I probably would have never got to her.
right.
And now I have an amazing relationship with the Department of Mental Health. They come to my event every year
Oh
now. And it's
wow.
just, I don't think I would have gotten that close with them if I would just went through the quote unquote proper chain of command. Fill out the contact form. No, not doing it. No.
I hear you.
Or I would find someone who knows somebody. Because, listen, business is all about relationships. And that's something that my father taught me from I was a little girl. And he
Oh,
also taught me, no matter what space you're in, when you walk into that space, you act like you own it. If you walking
ah,
into the Hilton hotel, you own the Hilton that day. And you
ah,
have to have that air about you. And it's not even about an arrogance thing. It's something to psych me up, to make me confident, because when you're in these spaces where you're trying to get the corporate sponsorships and you're trying to get the big checks, they're white, male dominated spaces. And
mm,
so I use that as a trick to psych myself out, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to make you, not even on purpose, not even a malicious thing, but
uh-huh,
just the way the environment is, it makes you feel like you don't belong there. Oh, I
ah.
belong there. You're going to cut me a check.
Ah, I love that. I love that. You put your game face on, huh?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So speaking of your dad and you mentioned the things he taught you, what did your dad, was your dad a entrepreneur growing up? Did he own a
He
business?
so he worked in he was really active in the community and dealing with elected officials.
Okay.
And so when you're dealing with
Politics.
that crowd, you definitely have to be, 10 toes down, stand on your business. And I think that's kind of where I get my advocacy muscle, if you will, because my
Got you.
family is very mission driven. So yeah.
Okay. Nice. Nice. So when you were getting started in your business, how was your family support through your process?
It's funny. Another thing I want to keep it real with you, Lynette. When I started my business, I expected all my friends and family to just jump on and be like, we support you. We're going to post everything on social media. We're going to help you sell tickets. We're going to help you do this. I'm not saying that my whole entire family did not help me, because I do have some amazing family members and friends who have been super supportive.
Uh-huh.
But to have that expectation that just because somebody is connected to you on a personal level does
Yes.
not mean they're going to help you on a business level.
Yes.
And so like my mom, for example, super duper supportive, especially since she knows that this organization started out because of my own mental health struggle. She saw me struggle. I've had depression since childhood. So she
Hmm.
she knows that this is something very near and dear to me. And so she's very supportive. I have a cousin that's very supportive. My brother is very supportive. Um, so I do have people in my life who are like, you know what, you're doing great things. And like I said, I think it's because they know like firsthand what I've gone through, and they know the impact that what I am doing can help a lot of Black women. You know what I mean? Like I know I've helped some because they have told me personally. But I think on the grand scheme of things, like on a global scale, I know for sure that what I'm doing is impactful, and they see it. They
Wonderful.
see it.
Wonderful. But that's very key because that that ideal is so common. You naturally assume that the people you know are going to help. I know I can call so and so. I know, that I tell them about it. They don't come buy some of this, they're gonna get this in. A lot of times they just are not interested. And not because they are trying to be negative, they're just not interested, right? And then you have some who
Exactly. And I'm
are.
glad you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You
I'm
have
sorry.
some
I'm
who.
glad you said that. It's
Uh,
not even like malicious, like, oh, I'm jealous, da da da. It could be,
right.
but not
Uh-huh.
like they just may not be interested,
Right. Right.
you know?
So yeah, that's good to keep in mind. So in the journey, because building a business is a journey, in the journey of building a business, we have to realize that our target market or our consumers, our customers, have to reach far beyond family and friends and people we know. The majority of it is going to be in the arena of strangers, people who don't know us, we don't know them, but they need what we're offering.
Absolutely. And yeah, so a lot of the folks who have supported me, like you said, are complete strangers. Like there's a woman that I have been in communication with, contact with, who I have never met in person.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally get to meet her on Saturday in person because she's going to be a speaker at the conference.
Oh,
And it's
nice.
like, yeah. So you, Lynette, as a
Yes, I
matter of
was
fact,
just
am
thinking
I allowed to
about
say
that.
it?
Yes,
Lynette,
we
let me
met
tell
because
y'all something. Lynette didn't know me from a can of paint, right? And like how I said, I'm bold and I did my little cold emails. I cold messaged her on LinkedIn and she was like, yo, I love what you're doing. I can't
mm-hmm,
physically be there, but
mm-hmm,
let me support you by buying an ad in your program book.
mm-hmm.
So it's people like Lynette that have really, really been supportive.
Mhm.
So we have allies everywhere. So I think the moral of the story is don't expect your friends and family to just jump just because you start a business,
Yes,
and don't feel, unless they're being malicious, don't feel some type of way about it. It's
right,
don't.
right. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Kind of get your mindset on the realization that that's not how it happens. you know. In any business you look at, they're not in business because their family and friends are buying their products. They're in business because the public is, because total strangers are. And it's just to your point, when you messaged me on LinkedIn and I looked into what you were doing, I was inspired. I was like, yeah, we need this. Yeah, because I had done the research myself too. But it was like, I just understood that the only way we are going to have solutions to this is if we create them. So if it's going to have to be a Regina starting a program or somebody else starting. It's not going to come from a big corporate type, atmosphere. It's going to come from the little people, us who know it's needed, and we just say, okay, I'm going to create it. It's not out there. I'm not waiting for somebody else to create it for me. They don't even understand how I need it to be, needed to run and flow and what I needed to give me, but I know that. So let me just step out there and start something. So I just
Exactly.
applauded your efforts because I was like, yeah, you know, definitely needed. Yes. So let me just, get my little coins and get buy an ad because I really want to be there. But I was like, okay, I can't travel and the schedule's not right. But okay, let me do something, something
Yeah.
more than just look at it and go to the next message. So, and I think more of us need to do that because when we invest in each other, when
Yes.
we invest in and encourage each other, I mean, it's just immeasurable, immeasurable.
I totally agree because we need community. Like, you know, I'm an introvert by nature. I'm super reserved by nature. I'm super self-reliant and resourceful, and I can do a lot by myself. So a lot of what I have done by myself, like as far as logistics and operations is concerned.
Right.
But having like that, even if it's moral support,
Mm-hmm.
we definitely need a community of people who are whatever business you're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could be doing lashes. You want to be in a
Right.
community where there's other, women who are women of color who are like, yeah, I'm learning how to do lashes, and it could be a Facebook group or,
Mm-hmm.
some sort of community where you're like learning different techniques or how to sell or whatever. Like, it doesn't make sense for you to be in a group with a bunch of construction company owners. That's not
Right.
gonna help you. You know what I mean? It may, I don't know, but I doubt it.
Right. Right.
So yeah, definitely community because like you said, when you circulate in that money within that community, it's gonna
Yes.
come back.
Yes.
It's
Definitely.
gonna come back to you.
Right.
Like, look at
Right.
us.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that. So thinking about the community you created, how would you say it has grown over the last 5 years? How have you seen it grown? And in what ways has it surprised you?
So this is going to be another transparent, keeping it real moment, Lynette. So because I do have mental health struggles, I have not been in the past few years, I was not really consistent
Mm-hmm.
with what I was doing. And so I would get members, lose members, get members, lose members, lose
Mm.
members, lose
Gotcha.
right? So one, consistency is key, folks. But
Right.
two, like you said, sometimes businesses they don't last the 5 years or whatever. And luckily I'm still in business,
Right.
but it definitely ebbed and flowed. It was not linear. Like the graph chart didn't go like this. The graph
Got
chart
you.
was,
Got you. Hills and
you know,
mountains and valleys. Got it. Got it.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But what I've noticed is that because at the time, I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to do the most. I was
Mm.
like, I want to have a podcast, a blog, a
Mm-hmm.
website, a
Mm.
Facebook group, a
Mm-hmm.
Patreon, a YouTube channel. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna I'm gonna make worksheets every week. I'm gonna have journals. Lynette, I was trying to do 50 million things,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I stretched myself so thin, and that's why I wasn't consistent because I couldn't keep up with my
Yes. You
own
could.
self-imposed
Yes.
expectations, right?
Yes.
So
That
just
is
like you
so
have to know your
key.
target, it is key.
Mhm.
And just like you have to know your target audience, you have to know like what you actually want to produce and provide. And
Mm.
so now that I am laser focused on my YouTube channel and my podcast, that's when I'm starting to see the consistency and the
Got
growth.
it.
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that that was super key for me,
Mhm.
because when folks say you're not consistent, they think you're flaky. They're not gonna want to pull out that credit card if you flaky. And
Right,
can you blame
right.
me? 'Cause I listen, all the people who left my
Exactly.
group, ladies, I don't blame you. Please come back. I promise I'm gonna do better. But I don't blame you. If you go to McDonald's 5 times a week and they don't never have no French fries, are you going back?
No,
No.
no, you're gonna find somewhere
Come
else to
on.
go. Somewhere else to go.
Right.
But that's very key what you just said, because a lot of times, and I know I have experienced this myself, you have so many wonderful ideas and so many, creative energies, things that you feel like you're good at, that you just have this whole list of stuff. I'm gonna do this and this and this. Yeah, you can do all that, but not at the same time, right? You can do all that, but you can't run a business or grow a business or be profitable doing all that at the same time. So you're going to have to choose what you're going to focus your time on. Because if you do a couple of minutes on 20 different things, none of it is going to grow. But if you can put some
No, no, no.
hours into 2 to 3 things, it would grow exponentially. So that was a lesson
Yeah.
that I had to learn myself, because
Well, really?
being that when we are solo entrepreneurs, we usually don't have those mentors there to tell us. We don't have that a family of business owners around us to give us advice. We're learning as we go. So if there's no one there to say, "Hey, you're doing too much," we learn the lesson by doing and failing, and then realizing, okay, I need to cut something out. This is too much, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the passions and the reasons behind why I started this podcast, because I realized there's so much we don't know. And if we could just share it with each other, right? If somebody just starting a business this month can hear these ideas and be like, okay, I was going to do that, but now I know not to. I'm going to do it this way instead. That's the whole purpose of it, because we learned it the hard way by going through it, right? Maybe from our mistakes and from our successes, they can learn how to do it better and get it going quicker and, grow faster, bigger, faster, and, and stay in business longer. So that's the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know a lot of entrepreneurs who get to the crossroad where they're conflicted. Well, what should I do? Because I like to do this and I can do that, and which one should I be doing? And it's a process to narrow it
Mm-hmm.
down, because it's a process to let some of those things go that you love doing. You realize, well, I can't.
Right.
I really want to have these 10 things in my business, but I'm gonna have to start with two. And I can plan to grow and add, other things, but I got to start with two. And you're not a failure because you pivot and you cut it down to two things. You're not a failure. That's growth. That's growth.
Right, exactly. Because like you said, start with the two and then eventually get to the 10, because you need room to grow, right?
Right.
And so I always like I have an affirmation that I tell myself, that I apply to my mental health. But now that we're talking about this, we could apply it to business, right?
Mhm.
Black girl magic is real, but I'm still human. So
Mm.
yeah, we're multi-passionate. We have all these ideas. We're so creative. Like women in general are just creative.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to mean to toot our own horns, but
Yeah.
women, we
Yes.
know how to take something and multiply it, right?
Yes.
But like you're human. There's only 24 hours in the day. You have other obligations, especially those of us who are starting out, or and have a day job. You still have to have make your commitments to your day job while you're
Yeah.
building your business. So yeah, there's plenty of. Let's take your time. The
Mm.
money will be there.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. Wonderful. So, when you were growing up, what type of jobs did you have as a teenager?
Ooh, so I'm laughing because I was literally talking to a friend about one of my jobs that I had when I
Uh-huh.
was in high school. So my first job, I worked as a cashier at Publix. Publix is a grocery store for those of y'all who are not down in Florida or down south.
Uh-huh.
Um, I also worked at a call center. And the reason why I giggled is because a friend of mine, she was saying she wanted to watch the Miss Cleo documentary.
Uh-huh.
And I actually
Oh.
worked at the call center that did the
Oh,
Miss
really?
Cleo. I did.
I didn't even know there was a
It,
documentary.
yeah, yeah, it's called
Oh,
Call Me Now.
okay.
And yeah, so that's what that was my job. What else did I do in high school? Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, so I had those, I think that was it for high school. Oh, and then when I graduated, I worked like as a cashier at a gas station or, that was it.
Right,
And
right.
I did office work too, like
Okay.
secretarial work. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So in starting your business and starting your actually transitioning from your ideal to have a kind of like a support group and to transition that into being a business. Um, you said some of your earlier challenges were funding. Um, so currently you have your annual event, right? Is that the major or main event you have, or do you have other events during the year? That's
So
the main
that's
event. So
the
tell us
only really
about
like
that.
major. Yeah,
Tell
so
us
that's
about
really
that
the
event.
only major event that I have, and I do it annually. And this year is the fifth year. And so I was reflecting on it, earlier this year, and I'm like, I went from Zoom to the Hilton in less than 5 years.
Mm,
So how I started it was, how I said I had that Facebook group. So like sometimes
right.
I would go live in the Facebook group and
Uh-huh.
talk about different things and this and that. And a friend of mine was like, Regina, you're really good at these lives. Maybe you should host a panel discussion. And so I
Oh.
said, okay. Like I knew how to just, I've never done event planning, like ever. So ever. But I'm resourceful and I can
Uh-huh.
Google or whatever,
Uh-huh.
right? And so it was supposed to be like a luncheon, like a brunch, like a 4-hour event or whatever,
Uh-huh.
but COVID. And
Uh-huh.
so I was so disappointed. And she was like, just do it on Zoom. Everybody's on Zoom. Do it on, oh, like, okay, fine. So the first year it was a Zoom conversation.
Okay.
That had Black women clinicians and Black women with lived experience, like with mental health issues. We talk about the strong Black woman schema and how we can kind of like redefine what it means to be strong and dismantle that trope. Then the following year, I was finally able to do it, my brunch. And then I had and ever since then, it's been a full blown conference with like two general sessions, breakouts, different breakout sessions, vendors, breakfast, lunch, like all types of thing. I had someone do like a poetry, like a slam poetry type thing. She wrote a
Ah.
poem specifically for the event, which was amazing. So it's just like every year it just grew and grew and grew. Like I said, I didn't know anything about event planning, but I was like, I'm super organized.
You
I'm an
figure it
executive
out.
assistant by trade. Yeah,
Yeah.
so so that's kind of how it happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have other avenues that you utilize to monetize your business?
Yeah, so on my website I sell like merchandise, so like
Okay.
um, t-shirts and mugs and stuff that say inspiring things.
Okay.
Um, like I have a mug here
Let's
that I
see it.
actually
Let's see it.
created specifically. That's my coffee.
Uh,
A
uh-huh.
mug that I created specifically for the conference because the theme is relax, relate, release. And so this is my
Oh,
mug where I'm drinking something hot or I'm relaxing, relating, releasing.
yes, I
And
love that.
so yeah, I sell little things like that.
I love that.
Um, and then I have the Patreon, of course, where people can sign up and pay the monthly membership. Mhm.
Okay. And what is included in the monthly membership?
Yeah, so basically you get like support as far as we have co-working sessions. So A lot of us still work from home, even though supposedly COVID is gone or whatever. There's still a lot of us who work from home. So what we do is we get on Zoom and we just might mute our mics and just work because it's just having another person in the room with you. I feel like
Right.
you're at the office. So we do things like that. We'll have like virtual events where it could, we're just having like a conversation where we're processing things. Sometimes I'll have like a therapist, a Black woman therapist, do like a Q&A. I have Q&As with me if people want to ask me specifically about my story, my journey. So yeah, just different things like that. I do have worksheets and stuff. I haven't created any new worksheets recently, but like new members will get the stuff that's already created, like my journal, minding my mental health, has different
Mm.
worksheets in it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just um general, just us getting together, whether it's just us having fun, doing a virtual karaoke, or us
Mm.
actually sitting down and talking to a Black woman therapist, because just some of us don't have access to it. And you want to ask a
Right.
question like, does this sound right? Or,
Good, good, good. In your business journey, have you considered what expanding or growing your business will look like? Like, have you put
mhm.
together a 3-year plan or a 1-year plan or 5-year plan, or thought about how would you expand what you're currently doing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I haven't written anything down to like anything concrete because I just recently thought about what I really want to focus on. And like how I was saying before about the podcast, I'm really laser focused on that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to grow that more and be more present, maybe get, how some people have like their um talk shows like on streaming services and stuff. So I'm thinking
Yes.
like that along the lines of that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with the conference, I'm thinking about having it at multiple locations throughout the year. So not just
Okay.
staying, in my area, right?
Uh-huh.
So maybe have instead of one a year, I may have two.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then as far as my membership, I know the online virtual is very convenient because you don't have to worry about like transportation, childcare, and things
Right.
like that. But there is power in being in the same room with someone. It's just you feel their energy, their vibe. So I'm thinking about potentially having different chapters throughout the country where people can meet in person.
Ah, okay. I love all of those. Very good
Yeah,
idea. Yeah, you need to well, it sounds like you have them written in your head, right?
in my
Because
head.
you just, but yeah, you need to write those down. Those are wonderful ideas. I would love to see those come to fruition. So, what would you say in your business journey has scared you? Because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we come upon areas or challenges or even opportunities that scare us to say yes to. We want to say no because they're outside of our comfort zone. So, in your journey, what would you say has scared you, and how did you
Mhm.
go beyond it?
That question is so timely because there is a celebrity, I'm not gonna name the celebrity, but there's a celebrity who I met in person and was like, "I love what you're doing. I have a new foundation and I wanna work with you." Today is Wednesday, right?
Yes.
I had a conversation with that celebrity a week ago. You think I followed up?
Ah. Mm.
I'm like, "We were
So
just
what?
talking,
Right, right,
you
right.
know?"
Were you feeling like it's too good to be true,
I
and
did.
and I don't want to
And
be
I still do.
disappointed. Yeah, I don't want to be disappointed to make a move, and I should have known they weren't serious, right? So,
So I'm still learning. I'm
right,
still learning.
right. So how are you going to overcome that? How are you going to step outside your comfort zone and
So, you know how I said my mom is super supportive or
uh-huh.
whatever? I'm gonna ask my mommy to do it. She's my official, unofficial executive assistant. I'm gonna get my mommy to do it.
I hear you. I hear you. Yes. Okay. But there you have it. And I'll be interested to know how that turns out. But I'm glad you share that with us because sometimes people think you only experience fear of something that's negative,
Yeah.
but it can also be something that's really, really positive and
Mhm.
really, really good, and you just can't believe it's that good. Good. I never had something that good just fall in my lap. Can it? Should I? So that's a great. I'm glad you shared that with us, so we get to realize that it's both sides of the coin. Fear is fear,
Exactly.
right? Fear is fear. So wonderful,
Mhm.
wonderful. But we,
Yeah, and
but
my
but
mom
I
told
know
me
you're
from when
gonna
I was a child. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my mom told me from since I was a child, she was like, "You have a fear of success." Because I remember one time I forget what the situation was, but I was like sad about something. I was like, "I'm so afraid to fail." She's like, "Regina, you don't have a fear of failure. You have a fear of success.
Mm,
Self sabotage."
mm. That was very
So,
insightful of her, and
mhm,
even more so for you to understand what that meant, right?
yeah,
Because that is so real. So even being
mhm,
a business owner, starting a business, we might have this small view of what it's going to be. Like it's going to get to be this much. And when it's at the point where it's expanding to more than that, it feels uncomfortable. Like, that's not what I had in mind when I started this. So, am I ready for this? Do I want that? And and that's in life too. You come upon things where you're like, I'm used to this little small circle, but now it's like life is pushing me to expand. How do I handle that? Do I self sabotage and say, "Oh, it just didn't work out again," or do I realize what I'm doing and do something differently? So,
yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
information.
It's
I can
tough.
just imagine how your how your virtual meetings go with when you're sharing things with your ladies, with the sisters, because you have dropped a lot of insights on us today that I love. I
Thank
love. I
you.
love. So, social media. How do you utilize social media in the growth of your business?
So I hate social media,
Mm,
but we need it, right? We need it to promote. So
yes.
that's how I primarily promote. I'm sorry, I don't like it. Like I said, I'm an introvert and
Hmm.
I'm an empath. So like I take on a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So a friend of mine, like if she doesn't see me on social media for like months, she'll be like, "Hey, everything all right over there?" Because I need to take a break. I cannot anyway. But I feel like for me, social media has been helpful in, promoting my brand and promoting my conference and stuff like that. But the thing of it is, it's like you have to be like on it all the time, all the time, all the time. So what I found that when I buy ads, that's what's when I buy social media ads like Facebook or Instagram, that's helpful because I make the ad, I purchase the ad, and it does what it does. I don't have to be like,
Right.
"Hi, I'm
Right.
Regina. Come to my conference," like every 5 minutes,
Hmm. Right.
And so social media is a really good tool for that. I get drained very easily, so I don't like to be on it. So,
Mm.
um, if I don't have enough money in my budget to purchase ads, I'll create a whole bunch of posts and schedule them out so they go out automatically. That way, I don't have to deal with it. Because I'm not gonna lie, if I go on, I'm gonna lurk. Like
Uh-huh. Right.
Jennifer Lopez did what? What she do? Ah.
Right. And then 3 hours later, you're like, oh my goodness, what am I? Why do I feel so tired? Because I've been taking in all these different energies. And that's
Right,
why I don't
not
come
minding
on
my
here
business.
like that. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely takes control because
Mm,
it is designed to capture you and
yeah,
just keep you scrolling. It's designed for that. So, a
exactly.
lot of times we get surprised when we realize the time span has gone because it's designed for you to forget. You are on there and you
Yeah.
got other things you need to be doing. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to either set a timer, go on just certain days, or like you say, prepare stuff and schedule it so it's automatic. So you're not caught up in that because I have the same relationship with it that you do. I don't like it, but it's a necessary marketing tool for business, but there's a smart way to use it. And I think your tip to schedule things, just create them and schedule them hands off, is a very good tip. Very
Yeah.
good solution.
Yeah, because
So
I
we
can't be bothered.
so we have had a wonderful conversation, Regina, and we close out by asking you a couple of fun personal questions. So I'm going to start with the first one, and the first one is going to be, what was your favorite childhood game?
Ooh, my favorite childhood game,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, was Monopoly. I was
Really?
always money hungry, Lynette.
Really?
I was always money hungry.
And there you have it. Wonderful, wonderful. If you could speak with anyone from any time in history, who would that person be?
That is so
And
easy,
what would you
Sojourner
want to
Truth.
say with them?
I'm
So
sorry. Before you can even
go
finish
ahead.
the question,
You already knew.
Sojourner Truth. Sojourner
Ah,
Truth.
nice, nice. What would you want to say to her
Where did you
or
get your
ask her?
bravery from?
Mm,
Where did you get your bravery from?
yes, because that
Because
was,
she said, "Ain't I a woman?
mm,
I am you
uh-huh,
too. I need to be
mm,
part of this movement too."
yes, yes,
I want to know where she got her bravery from.
mm, yeah. Yeah, our ancestors, yeah. Okay, very good, very good. The next question, what's your favorite meal?
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. I was just talking about this today. So two things.
Okay.
Um, which I don't eat anymore, by the way, because I'm on a
Uh-huh.
weight loss journey. I lost 40
Okay.
pounds and I ain't
Oh,
trying to get it
good.
back.
All right,
Okay?
good girl.
Okay. Um, Pizza and mac and cheese.
Oh my goodness.
I can literally eat that every day. Literally.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Let's see. One more. If you could travel to anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
Anywhere in the world. Um, right now, how I feel right now, probably Japan.
Huh. Why Japan?
Well, I've always liked Asian culture. I watch anime. I love anime. I like Korean
Okay.
dramas
Okay.
and stuff like that. And I love the food. And I would
Mm,
love to just go there and experience it, like the
got it.
actual authentic.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. And the final wrap up, what right now, today, what would you say you would want your legacy to be?
Mm. I want my legacy to be when people think about Regina Renaye, they think about a woman who was brave enough to step out of her comfort zone, start something from scratch that she didn't know what the heck she was doing, all because she wanted to help other Black women with their mental wellness journeys.
Mm,
So I want Regina Renaye to be synonymous with redefining what it means to be strong in the Black community.
mm, beautiful. Thank you so much. On that note, we are going to put all of your contact information. So, guys, you're going to know how to get in touch with Regina. You know how to connect with her website to see the wonderful merch she has there for you. Find out about her upcoming events and the ones she's going to add, and how to stay in touch with her and connect with her. Thank you so much for your time today, Regina. We really appreciate you coming on and being so honest and sharing the real deal with us because That's what we need to be successful. We need the real. So I love that we're able to give that to each other. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynette, for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Wonderful.